Hello there, Ben Bowers, the Spirit Specialist, and I am here today to talk to you about Ardnamurchan Batch 5. Confusingly, Batch 3 was the last one released in the UK, but I'll tell you why this is Batch 5 in a short while. Latest release, you may have seen the video review I did for Batch 3, which I absolutely loved. Really impressed with it. Very much looking forward to trying this. This is my bottle that I have not yet opened. Fortunately, I have a little bit of Batch 3 left from the New Kids on the Loch tasting that I did a couple of weeks ago. So I'll be doing a comparison with the Batch 3 to the Batch 5 as well. But before I do that, if you didn't see the previous video, let me give you a bit of information about the distillery itself. The Ardnamurchan Distillery is the most westerly distillery on the mainland of Scotland, sitting on a remote 50 square mile peninsula with a single track road being the only access in and out. The distillery itself was opened in 2014 and is owned by Adelphi Distillers. Jamie Walker founded Adelphi in 1993. His grandfather Archibald was previously an owner of the Loch Katrine Adelphi Distillery, which opened in 1826 on the banks of the River Clyde. The business was eventually purchased by Keith Falconer and Donald Houston in 2003, and it was in 2007 that the first steps were taken to open a brand new distillery, as demand for Scotch whisky began to indicate it would be harder to source casks independently. Ardnamurchan produces both peated and unpeated spirit, using natural colour and no chill filtration. The latest release from Ardnamurchan in the UK is Batch 5, although confusingly, the last release we had available over here was Batch 3. This is because there was a USA exclusive bottling that was the fourth official batch from the distillery, hence this one being number 5. As with Batch 3, it's again a combination of 65% ex-bourbon barrels and 35% ex-Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez sherry casks from distillations across 2014, 2015 and 2016, with a 50-50 split of peated and unpeated spirit. There are 19,998 bottles that were filled in July 2021, available worldwide, at an ABV of 46.8%. So, unopened. Let's get it open and let's try it. So, got my little glass here, take the cork off, get to the, there we go. Love that sound. And let's get it in our glass. Now I've not pre-poured, so it's not been aerated or anything like that. This is basically straight out of the bottle. What I'll also do is pre-pour the Batch 3 while I'm at it, while I'm here. So let's get another corky sound out of the microphone. Oh. Nowhere near as high or as interesting as the Batch 5. I wonder if that's a sign. It's not, it's because it's an empty bottle. Right, so let's pop that back on. Make sure we put the Batch 3 over there so we get the difference to it. Okay, so Batch 3, really good complexity, bit of saltiness, bit of smoke in there. This is the same in terms of 50-50 unpeated, peated barley. So straight into the nose. Really nice kind of warm, soft, sweet smoke. Slightly ashy, a bit of barbecue sweetness in there as well, but there's a little touch of a drier ash feel to it as well, which it's not as intense, but it reminds me a little bit of the ashiness of Kilchoman, something like the Mackay Bay, which is much more full on than this, but it's a slightly drier type of smoke. Really well balanced though. There's a nice sweetness coming from it. There's a lovely kind of warm fruitiness. There's kind of stewed plums, raisins, even like apricot, and even a touch of mango. There's a sort of tropical fruit vibe on this too. What a wonderful nose. There's a slight sea saltiness to it, like a sea breeze feel. Loads and loads going on here. You know, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I love whiskies and spirits in general, where you can just sit and nose them for hours. You don't even need to drink the thing and you're still really enjoying it. Love that nose. Right, on the palate. And that smokiness is pronounced again. I wouldn't call it intense, but it's definitely at the forefront. A lovely rich mouthfeel to it, really kind of full and quite thick. I wouldn't say oily, but we're moving in that direction. It feels like it's kind of coating the inside of your mouth and sort of resting there. But I wouldn't consider it as oily as something like a Springbank, but it's kind of got that texture feel to it as well, and that is helping that combination of flavours. So you do get that kind of soft, sweet smoke, but you get such a wonderful rich fruitiness underneath. And again, it's such a combination of different fruit flavors. There is like a tropical fruit feel. There is sort of mango, papaya, but there's also darker fruits in there as well. You get a little touch of sea salt, but it's really subtle. It's so good. It's such a good bloody whiskey. Now, I'm really intrigued to know what this is like compared to the batch 3. So I'm going to take another sip of the 5. I love that combination. I love that hint of smoke as well. It's there, but it's working with the flavors rather than being upfront and in your face. It's not going, oh, I'm heavily peated. It is kind of like, here's a bit of smoke, here's some fruit, here's some salt, here's some pepper, here's some more fruit, here's a touch more smoke to come back in. It dances on the palate, it kind of weaves in and out a variety of different flavors. There's sort of like a chocolatey feel coming through now, like milk chocolate, little touch of like sweet nuts, like praline, that sort of thing. It's so good. It really is so good. Right, I am now going to go to the batch 3, which was the last batch that was available in the UK. And let's see where we are. Because in essence, the makeup is basically the same. We've got that 65%, 35%, 50-50. The age of the whiskies is slightly different. So in the batch 5, we have some 2017 stock. So arguably the batch 3 is slightly older, but let's see where we are. So batch 3. Now, admittedly, that has been sat in a bottle for about a week or two with quite a bit of air in it, so it might have mellowed out a little bit. But interestingly, straight away on the nose, the batch 3 comes across a bit lighter. The smoke is nowhere near as pronounced. Now, that might be because it's been sat in an almost empty bottle for a while and it's sort of evaporated a little bit of it off, but straight off the bat with the batch 5, it felt like there was a bit more to it compared to the 3 when I had it on the tasting, what are we looking at? Just over a week ago, about 10 days ago now. It's definitely not as pronounced on the nose. But it's there on the palate. And interestingly, that ashiness, that smoky element on the batch 3 is a little bit more pronounced. Batch 5. The batch 5 feels like it has a little bit more fruitiness to it, whereas the batch 3 the smoke element is just a little bit more full on. It's just a bit more pronounced, whereas on the 5 it feels like it's dialed back just a touch. Not a lot in it, to be honest, and it is a case of, well, if you're going to pick one, which one it'd be. They are different, but not massively different enough. If I was going to give one the edge, I'd probably go for the 5, just because that fruity feel, that kind of almost fruit bowl, fruit shop almost, that's going on in there, feels a little bit more forward with the smoke reined in a little bit, whereas it's kind of the other way on the batch 3. Now, like I say, this is slightly affected by the fact it's been sat in an almost empty bottle, but I don't think it's had too much evaporation. Shit. Alexa, off. Stop interrupting. How rude. Alexa, off. How very, very rude of Alexa. I didn't even say the word. Where's that come from? Butting into my videos. Anyway, so the batch 3 feels, they're both brilliant. They're just slightly differently balanced in terms of where the focus is. Batch 3 feels like it's slightly more on the peated side. Batch 5, slightly more on the fruity side. They're both amazing. They're both really good value for money, because we're looking at $44.99 for this. I still have, at the time of recording, some stock available on the website. So if you are wanting to buy a bottle of the Ardnamurchan Batch 5, the 3's gone, just like, I didn't get that much of it, and it disappeared. Didn't even get on the shelves. But the Batch 5, I was fortunate enough to get a little bit more stock. I think because I've been a good boy. So I do actually have some bottles still available on the website at the time of recording. So if you are wanting to purchase a bottle of Batch 5, and I highly recommend it, it is absolutely stunning. It has all the best elements of Scotch in general, in terms of that smoky element, but the smoky element is not too full on. So for people that don't like heavily peated whiskey, this isn't a heavily peated whiskey. It's the equivalent to something like a Benromach, where that smokiness is soft and subdued and sweet, and it's actually lifting all the other flavors in there. Amazing mouthfeel. That texture is stunning. It's rich, it's thick. Like I say, it's not oily, but it's sort of heading in that direction, and that is helping that texture, and that is again accentuating very much the fruit flavors that are there. And the fruit flavors that are there are vast. You have lighter tropical fruits, you have dark stewed fruits, you've got almost everything in between. There is a chocolatey note in there, there's a little touch of a nuttiness too, but it's not particularly drying. It's complex, it's like loads of stuff going on, but it's incredibly well rounded, and the balance is absolutely superb. They have done it again. It is so good. I love what this distillery is doing. The whiskey is absolutely stunning at such a young age, and I cannot wait to see how it progresses through time, to see if it gets better and better, or whether we just maintain this level of consistency all the way through. It's just stunning stuff. So available from the website www.spiritspecialist.com. I highly recommend a bottle. Grab one while I still have stock available, and that is me done. I shall see you at the next one. Cheers.